Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John Malone. In this episode, don't have regulars, because reasons, I guess. As for our guest, he is from Alexandria, Louisiana. He's an entrepreneur and founder of Ugly Mug Marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Wayne Mullins.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. So, how's life?
Life is fabulous. I think, I'm learning to embrace every day and every moment, to embrace the moments, whether they are what someone consider beautiful or what others may consider ugly, to learn to be present and in the moment. And I think that's the best way to possibly live life.
Fantastic. And have you been up to much recently?
I have. We are on the work front. We are busy growing. It's our busiest season of the year. So we've been busy there. My wife and I and our kids, we're in the process of building a house, which is a little bit deceptive. We're not doing the building, obviously, but lots of decisions around building the house and the finishes and all that kind of stuff.
Ah, alright then. Very good. And what was the inspiration and the idea of ugly mug marketing?
Yeah. So the idea and inspiration behind Ugly Mug Marketing was simply this, that I wanted to create a marketing agency that is focused on results as the number one thing that matters. So often in the digital marketing space, in the ad agency space, the thing that so many get distracted by is trying to win awards. And Ugly Mug Marketing, the name actually stems from this quote that is, I would rather an ad that's ugly and effective over one that's beautiful but isn't. So that is the mission and that is the calling for what we do at Ugly Mug Marketing.
Ah, I like it. And what was life for you growing up?
I grew up in, I guess you could say, more of rural Louisiana, not across the river, not far from where I'm at right now, in an area called Pineville, Louisiana. Population roughly 15,000 or so. So for me, it was growing up, spent a lot of times out in nature, in the woods, building forts in the woods, and just had a lot of fun with friends. And yeah, it was great.
Okay, very nice. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I would live where I'm at right now. I'm a firm believer in this idea that, we as human beings, we aren't trees, meaning we can get up and move at any point in time. And I think it's not good for us mentally, emotionally to always long to be somewhere different than where we are. And, if I really wanted to live somewhere else in the world, then I'm of the belief that I should make that happen, that I should get up, that I can move. Yes, there may be obstacles, there may be challenges, there may be all kinds of other things that quote unquote get in the way. But again, anything is possible. And we live in a world now where it's easier than ever to up and move to a new location.
Couldn't agree more. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
I'm going to go with probably strawberries.
Hmm, interesting. Have you heard of a drink called banana friche?
It sounds familiar. I don't know if I've had it, but it does sound familiar.
Oh, is that so?
It is. I don't know where or why I would have heard of it.
Okay, interesting. Because every guest I have asked this question a lot to most guests, and they said, no, I never heard of it." And yeah, you are the first person to at least heard of it to some extent. So that's a surprise to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, we need the bells and the whistles and like the streamers going off or something, fireworks or something at least, right?
Yes. No, that calls for a celebration.
Absolutely. So fill me in. What is it?
So it is like a banana flavored drink, which is part smoothie, part milkshake. It's all the tingly sensations that you could possibly think of.
Sounds delicious.
It sure does. Would you rather never use social media again, or never watch another movie or TV show again?
Well, I'm going to choose TV because I actually really don't watch TV at all at this point. Don't watch movies, and I often joke with people when they meet me or get to know me. I say, if you begin the sentence or if you begin the question with "Have you seen?" the answer is already going to be no. So don't even ask the question.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I would say never watch TV or movies again because I'm mostly on social media looking at stuff anyway. And also, you can watch full length feature films on social media, which is cut into multiple parts. So that's
They,
that's a
it's the
that's a
it's the
win.
ultimate cheap code.
Yes, indeed. I love it. What's the weather like today where you currently are right now?
It is overcast today in a high of only 84 degrees, which is actually a break in the heat from where we've been. So we're enjoying the overcast and cooler temps today.
Oh, me too. It was pretty hot the last few days, but now we're reaching autumn temperatures now, which is pretty cool, literally.
And,
Lol. What is the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
I would say it's a T-shirt that my wife got me for my birthday, and it's by a company called One Golden Thread. And I don't know what what they made the shirt out of. It's some cotton blend, I believe, but it is incredibly comfortable.
Ah, very nice. Do you think a hot dog is a sandwich?
I would say absolutely. It comes between two slices of bread or two pieces of bread. I guess if you want to get really technical, the bread is still adjoined on one end. So you can make an argument in that case that it's not technically a sandwich, but there are sandwiches that go in a similar style or similar type of bread. So I'm going to say it is.
Okay, that's a good point, I guess. What hobby would you get into if time and money weren't an issue?
Time and money weren't an issue. I would get into surfing.
Nice. What could you do a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
Marketing.
That makes sense. Would you rather not be able to open closed doors or not be able to close open doors?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with I would rather not be able to close open doors.
Nice. It leaves opportunities open for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love it. If you were given 400 acres of land, what would you use it for?
I would take some of it. I would make it into a small farm of sorts, enough to produce enough produce for my family and friends. And then I would have a small portion for maybe some farm animals. And then I would love to leave the rest of it very wooded and maybe put a few trails, hiking trails, biking trails through some of that land.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Way too much. I spend most of my workday on some form of the internet, whether that is Google Docs, whether that's email or a social media channel. And then unfortunately, I spend too much time of that on social media or on various forms of internet in the evenings as well. So, way too much is the answer.
Okay, yes, I agree. I would certainly say the same thing. What is the best way to start the morning?
The absolute best way to start the morning is with some meditation and some gratitude.
Sweet. Is that all? Or is there more to it?
Well, those would be the best. I also love doing some journaling first thing in the morning and reading something that is inspirational, encouraging, something that really helps me set the tone for the day, right? I believe that our morning is kind of like the rudder, if you will, for the day, like a rudder on a ship determines where the entire massive ship goes. That one little rudder, right, in comparison to the ship. I believe that our morning routines act in that same way. And unfortunately, for so many of us, we're unintentional with our morning routines. We allow, the alarm to go off multiple times. We hit snooze, we rush, we hurry. And all of those things fill our minds subconsciously with worry, with stress, with thoughts of I'm late, with thoughts of I'm not going to be on time. All these words and all these feelings that, in my opinion, have a very negative connotation. So, yeah, I think that's the rudder for the day.
Okay, yes, couldn't agree more. Have you ever thought about a world nothing but gardens?
I can't say that I have. I've thought of maybe a world that is more of like maybe a magical or mystical forest of sorts.
Hmm. All right then. Very good. What else? Oh yes. If your mind was an island, what would it look like?
I think it would be very peaceful and serene. I think that, I believe that so often we go through lives not understanding the fact that our minds are in many ways like a muscle. And although we can't strengthen our minds in the same traditional sense that we could strengthen a muscle, I do believe that our minds can be strengthened, they can be exercised, and they can be conditioned and trained. And that is why I believe that meditation and affirmations and being intentional with what we put into our minds matter so much. As I go through life, as I, work with literally hundreds and thousands of clients over the years, and have my own team and just come in contact with so many different people, what I've come to discover is that so many of us so often allow our emotions and our feelings to dictate and determine how our day goes and how we feel in the moment. And I truly believe that we can train ourselves, we can condition ourselves so that regardless of the circumstance, regardless of quote unquote what is happening to us, we can still choose to experience peace. We can still choose to experience the beautiful reality of the present moment.
Sweet. What bad habits would you want to get rid of?
I think one of my bad habits is I tend to be impatient, and that impatience shows up in a lot of small ways, right? A lot of little ways, and so that is a habit that I am constantly attempting to work on, constantly attempting to learn to sit, learn to be still, learn to move sometimes and reflect back sometimes their pace instead of always trying to push things forward at the pace or the speed that I prefer.
Okay, I could agree to that. If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite whoever you like, whether they're dead or alive, which five people would you invite?
I'm gonna start with Ben Franklin. I would love to just be able to ask questions, to experience, some of life through his eyes, what he experienced, what he did. Another one would probably be kind of in that same era genre, if you will, Abe Lincoln, and having come from such a life of poverty and just really a lot of despair in his life to being the president during a very trying, very tumultuous time in our country's history, and how he led through that, how he grew through that. So he'd be one. Um, Current day, maybe Elon Musk, just again to understand or attempt to understand the way he thinks, the way he makes decisions, um, the way that he is structuring his businesses to attempt to have what some would say a positive impact on the world long term. Again, just to see how he thinks. The fourth one that I would choose would probably be, I don't know, the fourth one. The one I was saving for fifth, but I'll go ahead and use it now because I can't think of a fourth, is actually Judas from the Bible, the one who betrayed Jesus. I think that if you have any religious history or you know anything about Christianity at all, Judas is often portrayed, and probably rightly so, as the one who betrayed Jesus, who turned him over to the soldiers and exposed where he was at. Um, but we often don't think about what he went through and what maybe his regrets were, if there were any, after that experience, and what took place in those moments preceding that. So again, I think that would be super, super fascinating. So those are the four. If I need to think of a fifth, I can.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty nice lineup, actually. What what should they teach in high school, but they don't?
I think they need to teach entrepreneurship. And that is something that I think the best way to teach that is to have the students actually do things that are entrepreneurial. So have them attempt to start businesses, or have them run social media campaigns for the school or for a program in the school. I think the more hands-on real world experience, the less textbook experience that they have, the more it's going to prepare them for the world that we're venturing into, right? We live in a world where pretty much any bit of information that is needed can be obtained within seconds through the internet. Any math problem that you want to solve, need to solve, can be solved from your phone. And so we are building a society, I'm afraid, who knows how to do a lot of things that in this future that we're leaning into that are going to be irrelevant, right? They're not going to be needed. And so we need more problem solvers. We need more people who can think critically and analytically to work through difficult situations. We need people who know how to communicate well, how to lead other people well. And I think the best way to teach some of those things is through practical, real world experience.
Okay, fabulous. If life was a simulation, like most people say, what are some of the rules to this game of simulation?
I think the rules are to play by the rules, right? So if we are in a simulation, like some would say that we are, I think part of the simulation, or part of the matrix, if you want to use that term, would be that we believe there's a set of rules that govern the game. And in reality, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? There's someone or something who is pulling the strings, who is running the show. And when we discover that really there's just a false curtain there, there's a false sense of belief on things that we believe to be true or things that we believe not to be true, I think that is that may be the thing. It's that the rules really don't apply, but yet we believe they do.
Oh, that okay. Now that really got me thinking, for sure. If you could see one movie again for the first time, what would it be?
Oh man, this is a tough one because again, I don't really watch much TV or movie. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe like the original Indiana Jones.
Sweet. Oh, good grief! I'm fumbling for words right now. What were the
So
silliest thing? Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, so let me flip the script. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, go on then.
What do you think is the best answer you've ever received to a question on your podcast?
Hmm. Well, to be honest, there've been so many questions and so many answers. There's just so many to go through, and of course, I can't say one is better than the other because, well, the most of them are really great. But I think I remember the best answers in general I've ever gotten was like the more predictable ones, like what is the best way to start the morning? A lot of Americans I've talked to have always said I start the morning with coffee. Like it's like the same as British people drinking tea kind of stuff. It's like I've heard it every single time. It's just I just find it hilarious. It's just the same response.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. What were the silliest things you believed as a child?
Um, Silliest things I believed as a child. Yeah, I'm sure, in the early childhood years, kind of the monsters under the bed, or that some thing or someone was going to break in the window at night and steal me, or take me away. That would probably be some of the more silly things.
Okay. What animal or planet do you think should be renamed?
Hmm. I'm going to go with maybe the hippopotamus. I don't know why. It just doesn't. When I say hippopotamus and when I see hippopotamus, those two don't necessarily match in my head. The name doesn't match the animal. I don't know why.
It doesn't feel like the animal.
No, it doesn't. It feels like, yeah, I don't. It doesn't feel like an animal, particularly given the fact that they spend so much time in water. That's the part that doesn't feel right to me. If it was a land animal, I could see that, the hippopotamus being the right name.
Yes, of course. If you could get anything you wanted for free from one store for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Um, I'm gonna go with the first thought that comes to mind. It would be Apple and like the iPhone. It may not always be the iPhone. It may be whatever the future communication device is, but I don't foresee in the future, at least the foreseeable future, that I can see that there won't be some that we have that we use to connect with the world, that we use to communicate with other people. So I could foresee that being the thing that I'm always going to have or want to have. So that would be the one.
Okay, that's kind of cool. What item has drastically improved your life?
Um, I'm going to say books. Being able to learn from other people who have condensed down, years or decades of experience into a few hundred pages. Books have made a tremendous impact on my life and still today make a tremendous impact.
Hmm, interesting. What song is a 10 out of 10? Yeah, hardly anyone has heard of it.
Um, yeah, the name of the song is going to escape me, but there's a song by NF, um, and it's a song that for me has been played the most over and over again. The last time I looked, I think it was 5,000 plays in my on my app. So, and I can't think of the name of the song.
That's all right. It happens, especially me. There's a lot of songs I like, so it's just hard for me to choose one, honestly.
Yeah, there are so many good ones.
Oh yes, of course. If you had to lose one of your senses, which would you choose to lose?
I would go with hearing.
Okay. Would you rather be transported 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
I'm going to go past. And the reason for that is we believe we have a good understanding of what life may have been like back then. So I believe that going back in time would be less shocking, probably, than going 500 years into the future.
Yeah, I can see that. It was a much simpler time a few years before.
Yes, I would love to believe that and hope that if I was traveling back 500 years, that would be the case.
Yes, me too. What was the last concert you've been to?
Last concert I went to, I think, was 21 Pilots concert.
Fabulous. If you see a puddle on the ground, do you walk around it, over it, or through it?
It's going to depend on what shoes I have on for the day, but that would determine whether I go around the puddle or sometimes through the puddle. If I've got on good shoes, I'm going around. If I've got on my old shoes, work shoes, running shoes, I may go straight through the puddle.
All right then. Would you consider yourself to be an extrovert or an introvert?
I would say I'm an introvert.
Ah, okay. I would say an introvert, but sometimes I could be extroverted because I enjoy socializing, but not too much because I want time to myself.
Yep, I can relate to that. I don't mind being in groups of people, but I always find that I tend to get depleted after long periods of time around a lot of people, and that I tend to get energized when I can spend time alone, not substantial long periods of time alone necessarily, but time alone to just recharge, reflect, and to move forward.
Yeah, indeed. If you could host a talk show, who would you have on as your first guest?
Um, this may be not thinking quote unquote big enough, but the first person that comes to mind is Ryan Holiday.
Ryan Holiday. What an interesting name. I've never heard of him, but he sounds interesting, in my opinion.
Ryan Holiday is the author of several books. He is also I don't know if you call it, the founder of this site called The Daily Stoic. And he teaches a lot, writes a lot about Stoicism and how we can still take the principles and the practices that were, originally at least attributed to, roughly 2000 years ago, and how those principles still can make a tremendous impact on our lives today.
Ah, very good. What was the longest trip you had taken?
Longest trip I've taken probably be straight continuous trip would probably be a trip to Washington, D.C. from Louisiana. I don't remember the exact number of hours, 18 or 19 straight driving.
Wow, that's mad. I remember the longest flight I've taken was nearly 12 hours each each way, visiting
Yeah, that's
family on holiday.
that's not fun.
Uh-huh. It was a great vibe, but yeah, the journey was not it was not it.
Yeah.
What always makes you laugh?
My kids. I have 4 kids, and they are usually up to some form of mischief, whether that is intentional or unintentional. But they're very good at keeping us laughing.
Oh, that's nice. What is the best pair of shoes you own?
Hmm. My favorite pair right now are my Golden Goose sneakers that I had custom designed, and I absolutely love them. Incredibly comfortable, and no one else has a pair just like them.
Oh, okay, I can see that. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you on, Wayne, talking about entrepreneurship, ugly mug marketing, and ways to stand out in the best way possible. It's been great.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for the fun and challenging questions.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.